শরতকুক্ষের রথ নরনারীগণ ঐশ্বর্য যাতনা পায় দুর্ভিক্ষ ভীষণ অন্নবেশিনকায় বলহীন দেহ ক্ষুধা কষ্টে আত্মহত্যা করিতেছে কেউ কেউ প্রিয় প্রাণহীন পুত্র কান্নাগণে করিতেছে প্রত্যাগণ্যের কারণে বল 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 দেবী কি পাপের ফলে ভীষণ দুর্ভোগ সদা মর্তবাসী জলে কমলা ব্যথিত হয়ে দুঃখিত অন্তরে কহিলেন পর ক্ষুণ্ণবণী বরে ন লক্ষ্যে দুঃখ পায় সুখের বিষয় দুষ্কৃতির ফল ইহা জানিবে নিশ্চয় চঞ্চলা আমার নাম কিসে।
Behind the mirror where I live, I look out and observe you all as you rush around like atoms in jars or fireflies caught in beams of stars. You look straight at me, but you don't see me there. I birthed, held you, and brought you here, so you could look in that mirror and feel free. And now through it all, I seem to have lost me, at least to you.
People from minority ethnic groups, they know of social services. Social care, I'm not satisfied that enough people know what it is and whether or not they could how it's used. The thing with social care or social services, and I think this is for most communities, they'll only be aware of what they do if they need that service as such.
When you mention social care, I just think of social services and what help they give to elderly people or what group of people. I suppose any person who, with different needs should be able to get access.
Looking after maybe a husband or wife who's mentally ill.
I think it's knowing your rights, what you can get from the socials, like your pension, your housing, and your health.
Generally, I would say it's basically looking after those people who are less able to come join us or join other community. That's where the social care comes. That's what social care is to me, to helping other people.
Suppose old couple থাকে তারা কখনোই এমন অবস্থা হয় যে বয়স হয়ে গেছে নড়তে চড়তে পারে না, তারা কোনো মতে একজনে বেরোয় না। এইটাই আমার মনে হয় এদের ইয়েতেই social care দরকার।
Personally, I don't think they know much about social care. I mean, my mother is a prime example, and she works quite a lot in the community, but they don't know the specifics. Because social care they see it under one umbrella term, not under the different headings, such as OT. Like, where does nursing care fit into that? So district and palliative care nursing fit into that. Where does personal care fit into that? Housing support, where does that fit into it? Childcare, where does that fit into it? Safeguarding, where does that... I don't think the community have any idea about all of those categories.
I think, first of all, they may be language barriers. They may not know where to go to access these sort of services. And sometimes they think, well, there'll be a burden to other people. And as you know what our culture is like, culture is such that they try to keep everything within the families. sometimes you need that sort of extra help because even the families struggle and they themselves may be working, maybe the son, the daughter-in-law or other members of the family might be working and the adults of the household may be isolated and they may not know where to go, what to do, where can they find any help. And as you know, trust is a big thing. So if they don't have that trust in anyone, then they don't want to, really tell people about issues that might be going on within the family.
I would think a few of them probably know, but there may be a reluctance for some of them to come forward and ask for help. There may be a cultural issue, there may be a language issue, but I think most of the communities I think are aware of the services, but it's a reluctance of going forward and asking for help, and I think that's where the problem is. It's not restricted to any community as such, but I think it takes two hands to clap, and there definitely is a need for communities to go and ask for advice and help.
I think social care is when you get to the point where you can't do things for yourself and you need that extra help. Because you don't have to be elderly to need social care. You can be disabled or something like that, or born with some sort of defect that you need social intervention. So social care can be helping to cook or something like that, or just walking, or somebody to, interpret for you if you have any difficulties.
There's a variety of services that we offer. If you're a service user and you're struggling perhaps to look after yourself, then there are a host of things that you can receive from the council. This would start with an assessment that would identify what those needs are, and then following that assessment we would refer that client to an independent support broker. We have brokers from the BME community who can communicate in numerous languages such as Urdu, Punjabi, Gujarati, and they can help that individual to find maybe some home care or domiciliary care. It could be community-based activities, or they could go into a day centre. There could be support with their laundry, perhaps they need a meals service. We have an in-touch service. There's the reablement service for someone that's just leaving hospital and needs a little bit of help to get back on their feet. We can also help somebody find an appropriate nursing home or a residential home. There's also things like equipment that people might need to get around their home, some adaptations perhaps to their home, so we can support with that. And there's also assistive technology that can help, so bed sensors if someone falls over, they can also provide support. We have an advocacy service, so if somebody wants someone to talk on their behalf and speak up for them on their rights, that service is also available. And we have an organisation called Power who also provide direct payment support, and that enables someone to have their own budget so they can purchase the care and they have a full choice over who they have coming in their home and how that support is delivered.
I hum the old tunes from my childhood. I remember the smells, tastes and colours of home. The heat, the rains, the sun and rainbows, they connect me to that familiar place long, long ago.
not time to do that. I look after myself. My life is very hard. He go get me. After that he go. 1 hour time he go to need the toilet. Yeah. I have to take him toilet. So most of time, past 3 years, I change the dirty nappy. Kera mostly I irrigate part because I can't stay at home all the time and do this and do that. It's not a life.
Social care and how it comes to me is, well, it's not up to scratch, as I should say, because you don't know who you have to go to and, who sort it out, because one person say one person, next person. So I think at the moment it needs to be addressed more.
Mm-hmm. Currently, my health is sliding down, as I'm getting older, I'm doing less things. So I've come to a stage, where I cannot cook for myself, personal care. I need help generally. Mm-hmm. Cooking is difficult for me now. So I got pain in my hands, like arthritis coming. I haven't been to my GP for a long time. Since I come to live on my own, I have difficulty going out, so even visiting a doctor is a problem for me.
अभी हम केयर्स का सॉरी मिलता है मेरी लड़की मेरे हस्बैंड को डिमेंशिया मेरी लड़की is disabled so she get cares morning shower and get ready and night time 9 o'clock they come 4 o'clock after, when they coming from day center after 4 girls come and look after her. लेकिन टाइमिंग में थोड़ा फर्क हो गया. मेरे हस्बैंड he need more than my daughter. जब बात में जाते हैं तो वो लोग नहीं होते इधर. जब जाने के बाद वो फ्रेश हो जाते हैं तो बाद में आते हैं. वैसे सेटल नहीं होता है टाइम. वही प्रॉब्लम है अभी तो.
But there's also gaps where they've provided the hours of support, but the thing is they can't provide the support at the time we need. Like my father needs early morning support, like 6 o'clock. He gets up and has to be showered straight away. His bed needs changing, so we haven't got any support for that. We've got the hours allocated from social services, so we've got the budget as well, but we haven't got the staff coming in to help. So that's an issue.
क्योंकि हमारे पास सिर्फ बाथरूम है, वेट रूम नहीं है, तो उसका कुछ कौंसल कर सकती है या नहीं? क्योंकि ये हमें बड़ी मजबूरी है, ये बाद में नहीं जा सकती, मैं भी नहीं, मुश्किल से जो है ना, ये घुटनों का दर्द है, तो ऊपर नहीं जा सकते, हम दोनों नहीं जा सकते. बहुत अच्छा हो गया जो है ना, मैं ऊपर गया ही नहीं. ऊपर अगर चला जाओ तो फिर नीचे आना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता. कौंसल में जो है हमने पहले काफ़ी अरसा पहले जो है ना डॉक्टर ने भी खत दिया था, तो वो किया. वो बोलते हैं तुम्हारी बाथरूम नीचे है ये और तुम्हें जो है ना वो नीचे 2 कमरे हैं, तो तुम्हें इसकी कोई मदद नहीं मिल सकती.
My mother got ill in August. From August till October, we had visited the GP several times. And then finally when in October she was admitted to the Stoke Mandeville with no sensation on the right leg. And from that point onwards, the breast cancer treatment started. On the first instance, when she was moved to Stoke Mandeville, there was absolutely no communication gap with all the medical staff, with my mother. But the moment she was moved to Oxford, I don't know what was the reason, the communication completely fallen apart. And there was absolutely no interaction between the medical staffs, between the nurses and my mother.
I think it is really important for the service providers to be aware of different community groups. They should be aware of different cultural backgrounds, because without that knowledge, how do you provide a service? Yes, everybody needs the same service, but there are different backgrounds, different culture, where something specific might be needed. And if these providers haven't got that knowledge, how do you do it?
One of the factors, and this is from my experience, is as usual, they prioritize, and if you really are desperate, you probably get some attention. But if you are trying to help yourself with a little impact, a little input from social services, I'm not sure that works very well.
Initially, I found getting the help, I was very confused. I didn't have a clue where to go, what to do. I was pretty lost. It was quite depressing to see your family suffering and not being able to help them, not knowing what to do, where to go for the help. And I rang up it wasn't Buckinghamshire carers, but it wasn't sort of specifically for Asian people, because I wanted someone to talk to my mum, or my mum could just ring up and ask for help, and there wasn't really anyone available, so that was a difficulty.
I think service providers may benefit, especially particularly for the care profession, should benefit from some form of cultural awareness training, so that needs of groups, particularly minority groups, could be addressed a bit more appropriately.
My mother could understand English. She couldn't communicate back in English, but she had her own way to communicate things back to them. And there was a point that nothing was actually told to my mother, that what was happening, what will happen to her, where she'll be taken, where she'll be moved. There was no interaction between the nurses or the doctors with my mother, because the nurses and the doctors, they assume that my mother cannot understand English.
I can talk about my mother, who did go to a care home, and they were very good and they did their best, but because I'm more aware, like with skin care, hair care, when you have a bath, you really need to have your skin moisturised. Your hair, you probably need more moisture put back into your hair when it's washed.
We basically provide standard daycare services, so we have clients who come to us from social services, some who come privately. A lot of them have dementia of one form or another, some quite severe. Some of them just come because they like to meet with other people, because otherwise they'd be at home on their own and so on, so they need to socialise, and yeah, we're open to everybody, as you can see, but we are predominantly Caribbean. They like to come here because they can access things that pertain to their culture. So they like the food, they like the way that we cook. We don't actually buy in meals, we cook on site, so we would have what they call culturally appropriate meals, but by the same token they do have quite a lot of health issues, so we are conscious of the fact that they may be diabetic or have high blood pressure, so we would maybe take out a lot of the spices and so on that they're used to, and so on, but yeah, they like coming for. That's one of the reasons that they do get meals that, our cook is Caribbean, so, they have properly seasoned meat and that sort of thing, which is important to them.
When my mother was taken to care home, the food was really, really bad. And this care home, I think my mother was the only Asian in the whole of the care home.
And diet is so important, again, with the foods being so different and not familiar to people's taste. And it could be seen that they're lost their appetite, they're not eating, they're giving up their will to live, which is the reverse, when it could be just as simple as the food is not to your liking.
Because you're not eating and getting weaker.
Yes, and in the long run, that could be a health concern. So something but it's the awareness that, you know, somebody perhaps would need a little bit more spicy diet to get their appetite going, things like that.
My mother had a lot of problem with food. Just imagine a person, an Indian, who had a completely different diet all her life, and now she is in a final bedridden state, waiting for her life to end. She was given food which she never had in her life. She was given food which doesn't taste anywhere what she had for all her life.
But I think they need to make it culturally specific because it's very generic and aimed at Caucasians. If you have an Asian person in the leaflet, or you have an Asian person on a TV screen, that would be far more, because Asian people will be able to relate to that. And we don't. We just always have a white person talking about the care that they've received, which seems really, which doesn't allow the connection to happen. So I think that would be really one thing that can be done. I think we need definitely more Asians on literature, leaflets, TV screens, adverts maybe, like, you know, to talk. Even if you look at stroke adverts or dementia adverts, they're all white. There's no, Pakistani people have, you know, dementia, black people have dementia, but you don't really see them on the adverts at all. So I think that would be one thing that needs to be done.
Do you know, the Caribbean people, they just, I don't know, they just like to be at home. They don't like to come out. I mean, you tell them about it, but they just still have the Caribbean in them. Because in the Caribbean, you have like access of different area. Mother look after daughter, granddaughter, look after grandchildren and things like that. So maybe she's not here. And you don't see people, some people don't even know their neighbors, which I think is a sad thing.
Generally, whereas at my age, I think we need more access to a free social gathering where we are provided more information about these type of sources, so we can access to it. This group which I go to, that was by chance, and I was invited to go there, and I went, and that's where I started it.
I'm sure a lot of research has been done by different groups around Buckinghamshire, all over the country, and it's really a surprise to me that after all this research that's been done and money spent on it, that we're still facing the same problem. So there's an issue with delivering of the services and reaching for the services. So there's a gap somewhere.
And I had no idea that the funeral and the funeral director can be so expensive. And nobody is there to let me know that how the thing works, how much it costs, how much, and what are the procedures. And there were no guideline as well in any social care or anywhere, that how the funeral directors need to be lined up and everything has to be settled. And the shock of my life was that when my mother really passed away, the GP who used to look after my mother in the care home, he was not ready to travel to the funeral director's place to sort of sign off the death certificate. According to the Hindu religion, the moment a person dies, the body doesn't make the body need to go back to the ash immediately. And from the date of cremation, the point of cremation, our 11-day period starts, and on the 11th day, we have a certain ritual, certain Hindu rituals we have to follow. So my mother was cremated almost after 9 days from the day she passed away. And there was never an effort to understand from the social carer, from the doctor's side, from the GP surgery, and from everybody, that there are certain rituals, there are certain Hindu way which we need to follow, which we couldn't. And I think this is a huge gap in understanding the need of a particular community.
So in terms of services that we offer in Buckinghamshire, the first one that I want to talk about is our website. There's a new website called Care Advice Buckinghamshire, and that provides advice, information and guidance to help people lead the best quality of life they can. It's very easy to use, and it provides information about all of adult social care services in Bucks, and that includes issues around health, financial matters, as well as a wide range of social and leisure activities. On this website, there's an e-marketplace as well, where you can browse for care services, and there's a secure shopping option that enables you to actually purchase equipment or any services online. Now, we recognise that not everybody has access to a computer, so you can go down to your local library and they will be able to help you. The second website that I think is also very important for anybody in the community that's looking for a service is the Care Quality Commission website. They are the independent regulators of health and adult social care in England. So they would monitor and inspect care homes, care agencies, hospitals, clinics, GP surgeries, dentists. So it really is important that all of those services meet a national standard. Now, In Touch is a telephone-based advice and information service for adults. And what they would do is they would have a telephone conversation with a Bucks County Council employee about their concerns and their needs, and they would get person-centred advice around their requirements. Telecare is another fantastic piece of equipment that we provide as a service, where you can have pendant alarms, pagers, alerting systems, fall sensors, smoke or carbon monoxide detectors. And this really helps people to stay in their homes and remain independent and safe. Hot meals. Buckinghamshire County Council do provide a hot meal delivery service. It's either a lunchtime meal, or they can also provide a tea box for later that evening. There's a laundry service that we also offer, and it provides a weekly community laundry service through our local authority trading company, and their name is Bucks Care. Prevention Matters is a service that we've been promoting. It's a free and friendly advice service for adults over 18. And that enables anybody to access social activities that are either delivered by a community or through volunteers. So how does somebody get an assessment? How do they actually find out about what their needs could be? Well, the first thing that they need to do is contact Bucks County Council. And if they're not comfortable in doing that, their GP or health professional can refer them. And then they'll have a date arranged for a social worker or an assistant that will come out and sit with them and go through a series of questions to see how they are coping or how they're not coping and what support they may need. So the independent support brokers, this was a service that was set up by the Bucks County Council to help people write their care plans. Direct payments. If someone's eligible for a service from Bucks County Council, then they can have a direct payment. Buckinghamshire County Council's trading arm have 6 hubs in the whole of the county. They're new hubs that have been designed to a high standard and have been purpose-built to support clients with all sorts of disabilities. So learning disability, it could be autism, older adults with dementia, mental health conditions. And in some of these hubs we have a hydrotherapy pool, state-of-the-art sensory rooms, and there's really lovely interactive outdoor spaces.
If you just say, well, all the information is on our website and so on and anybody can access it, well, no, they can't really access it, can they?
But by doing leaflet, I don't think it's ever worked. It's just like a token to me. Go to hospital, they probably leaflet there. But a lot of us don't read English, don't know much about English. But if anybody say to us, if you have any problem, see such and such, and then they will sort it out for you.
Most of the West Indian community, people from the Caribbean, when they get older, a lot of them tend to go to church. And that is one way of sort of getting information going out, because if you know who their pastor is, whether they meet here or things like that, that is one area I think that you can get out information. Definitely.
I suppose making personal contact, seeing them physically, and mentioning, what services they can obtain, which is available to them. If you give them examples from somebody who already got the services, and if they require it.
I've been in the voluntary sector for something like 30 years, and someone like yourself, every now and then you would come to one of our, actually wait to talk to me now, and things that you've identified, and we'll make the same comments. They'll have a project, and usually typically lasts a year, and you will come, we'll ask some questions, and we will give you the answer, we'll reply to your questions, and then this is not just about you, but you go where, and that's the last we hear of those things until somebody else again starting with the project. So it's constantly reinvented the wheel, when in fact what we would be expecting is action, based on the information that was already supplied, and the whole expectation is that it would be used for the benefit of the community.
I find it hard to ask for help here in this world. Out in front of the mirror, the rules are different, confusing, shifting, busy, loud. So I stay on my island, alone, bereft, in this shifting sea of sand, where all I am longing for is for you to reach out your hand and take me in your arms once more.